You is, I mean, this is the teacher.
Can you do this?
And if John talks, now is there gonna be a quorum from any of
We'll
us?
find out.
They can
Take one of those plugs out, like the computer plug, and plug the extra extension.
Thank you.
Can you guys still hear me?
And then.
Oh, thank you.
It can be, focusing right
When
now.
should I start?
Okay, let Doug introduce.
John, 1 second. I want to
Wait,
look
you
at
just-
that.
Well,
Well,
it's primary.
we just unplugged.
Primary anchor and then. it can
Yeah,
be
it's
secondary anchor. So you realize, oh, when I'm focusing on this, I can still,
Fortunately, that plug is
sound can be.
Everything in.
And it could be listening to noise, listening to sounds, it could be staring at staring at the tree, it could be staring at the, so anything, using your senses. Just focusing on concentrating on
You all right,
something,
Frank?
and then coming back to
Do we
doing
want
the
to
meeting.
highlight
Your thoughts,
in
take
John
you
over
over
in the
here,
presentation?
one
So
back,
we use this, we
take
come
the
back.
screen, take the puppy,
Uh,
puppy wanders off, you just gently
This is a
bring it back
backup.
in,
Yeah.
it goes in,
So,
puppy wanders off.
Is the ground cord still plugged in?
yes,
And-
it is plugged in.
Because, yeah,
So, yeah.
You know, Frank and I are both,
Like,
yeah,
all
all-
around.
But it is plugged in.
coming back in.
You just need to get yourself back in there.
My hair is a mess. It got too long from being away, and then I used my razor thing and it missed lots of things, lots of hairs. So doesn't it look like shaggy
It
and
looks, yeah.
looks
It's
really
like- But you know, it's a, it's an
messy.
interesting look.
Yeah.
You're looking very
breaking?
breaking
See the bump here? I dropped the weight on my head this.
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Had a big
did.
bump. Yeah, I was
Oh, I see
doing
it
my
now.
hit class and I hit myself in my hit class.
You seem to get smarter with that.
Okay,
bump.
We do meditation on
It's part of
self-pleasure.
my stand.
Yes.
Are we ready to go? Frank, you good?
Yes.
Everybody's okay? Okay.
We're good.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to, gosh, we're more than a 12th through the year already. What year is this? Are we in the 21st century yet?
You're
Yeah, this is the 21st century. Welcome back. Really special day today, honored to have John share what's the magic in him, and take it away, John.
Okay. Here we go. Can you all hear me? Yes, okay, good. I'm going to start with a quote from Alan Watts, my hero.
We got let's stop for a sec. We got an echo.
Yeah, sure.
It's on the bottom left. Volume.
You're muted, Doug.
No, he's fine. He's fine.
I'm going to start with a quote from Alan Watts, my hero, who I read a book in high school. We know that from time to time, there arise among human beings people who seem to exude love as naturally as the sun gives out heat. That's the spectrum of love. And I'm convinced that the heat of the sun is energy from the universe and love from our ancestors. And I'm going to share.
What is your ancestor?
That's my father and my mother, and he grew up, his father left when he was 2, and his mother was not very loving, but my mother got so much love from her parents, and particularly her father, Raymond. And she taught my father about love, and I'm quite sure. And they had so much love between them, and it exploded into all of their kids and friends and staff. And I asked my father when he came to Brazil for the carnival, what should I do when I raise children? And he said, just love them. And that's what he did. And here's my mother loving me, my brother Tom, my brother Andy, and my father. And here is my sister Jenny, my brother Tom, my brother Andy, me, and my mom on a boat in Annapolis when my father went to college and then taught after he got his PhD in physics. And he got this boat and named it after my mother, Lois May. And he had so much love for all of us. And he was also a naval captain and quite serious, but very productive and brilliant. And we moved every couple of years back and forth across the country. And here is our family on our first VW van where we camped across the country. And we had so much fun and so much love. And we were so lucky. And my sister Jenny and I grew up as best friends, and we played together a lot, and we taught each other things, and it was a beautiful thing. And Doug asked me to talk about the love in my heart. And here is our second VW camper in London at our house. And we went all around Europe and had so much love and excitement and delight. And actually, my father was a brilliant civil engineer. He ran the naval construction in Europe, and he built this plant in Turkey, Ankara, in 12 months from a bare piece of ground. He put it together amazingly. And here's Rachel later on and having a chicken. And here is what's called Moon Hill, where Jenny and I went hiking to the top, and we saw an artist. She also went hiking with me in Banff, Canada, and around Asia. And eventually I took Rachel to the top of this hill and proposed to her. I got down on my knee and said, "Will you marry me?" And she said, "I thought you'd never ask." And well, we did. And when I was in Brazil, I loved my staff so much, and he put me on the cover of a Brazilian magazine, História de Dinheiro. And here's our house in Munich, which was originally a restaurant. And our kids, it was so much love, and we were next to a forest, and I'd take the kids there and hide little candies and treats for them to find. And when my father passed, I took his ashes across the North Atlantic to celebrate his life and have him feel love. This is Greenland. And here was he and I flying over Mount Rose near Reno. And we each were in a glider having great fun together. And fun is love. And here's my daughter, Sonnet, at a school event. And I just took what my father said, just love them. And here's Hannah winning a Irish dancing trophy. And here's Hannah so happy that I also got a tattoo like she did a month ago, because Jenny introduced her to a woman in Colorado who told her to find a spirit animal. And Hannah chose an elephant, and this woman attached her to an adopted elephant in Africa. And I sent her a necklace with that profile, and she eventually got the tattoo. And I got one last month in Chile. And here's my friend Jack. And my little airplane outside his house. And he was a loving friend. He brought me into the Quiet Birdman pilot group. And here is my brother's house in Tucson, that in the desert with all those saguaro cactus. And the guy who bought the house put up this sculpture, and I got a duplicate of that sculpture on my back deck to love my brother Tom and feel so good about it. And Greg called me from Singapore in 2014 and said, "Hey, John, we've been talking about going to Burning Man. Can you make it happen?" So I did, and it was wonderful. And actually, Greg gave me this shirt for my birthday, and Greg and Randy and Frank and Doug and others say I love you, and it's so great to hear that from a guy. Most guys don't say that. And Frank and Alana brought me this from Mexico, which is a form of love. And actually, there's my parents at a 50th anniversary of their wedding, and I organized out of love, uh, a surprise event in Annapolis at a special place. And I told him that my daughter was getting her, my sister was getting her daughter baptized, and he's not thrilled with that. He was not religious, but I convinced him to go, and we had like 75 people from around the world there, and I showed a lot of these slides and played a lot of his favorite music. And it was love. And here is my father dancing with my sister Jenny at her wedding in Grenada, where Frank went to college, med school, along with Bryn. And I eventually took my dear friend Roger, who also tells me he loves me. I took him down to San Diego a few years ago to meet my dear Aunt Betty, and they cuddled and had a great time together. And here's Greg at Burning Man, which he got me going. And he did an interview of most of the artists of the sculptures, including this woman, as a, and interviewed him why. And the guy said he heard a woman screaming and she was being abused. And in order to honor her, he built this sculpture. And here's my sister Jenny and I. We had so much love. We have so much love. And at Burning Man in 2019, she gave me a special thing that absolutely opened my heart, expanded my heart permanently. And it was so amazing. And here's Randy at Yosemite, where we went camping, and he says he loves me. And here's Doug, and Doug was willing to drive with me to Canada most of the way. And I felt like that was an amazing form of love and care. Yeah. And actually, Randy and Rachel and I were all in the same course in Hong Kong, expanding our hearts. And Frank has gone with great love to several doctors with me, Dr. Katz, Dr. Green, and other driving orthopedic occupational therapists. And I so appreciate that love. And Ilana put together a WhatsApp saying, and she took me up to the eye doc and she said, started a piece called We Love John. And that was so moving and helped me feel loved. Ram Dass says, unconditional love really exists in each of us. It is part of our deep inner being. It is not so much an active emotion as a state of being. Ram Dass. Okay, and I love each of you, and I so appreciate all of you.
You'll have the screen share. You can see everybody.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, son.
Oh,
Hey,
Hi.
son.
Hey,
Welcome.
thank you. This is me. This is my friend Sammy. We're driving
volume
along
up
the
there.
coast.
Turn up the volume somewhere.
on my laptop.
Not here, not here.
We're in the desert.
Hold on, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now we can.
Now we can. Can you turn your?
I was just saying that this is my friend Sammy, and we're driving up north to meet some other friends. We're in the desert, just in the southern edge of the desert here in Chile. We're just, it's pretty cactusy out here.
Wonderful. Great you joined.
Thanks, Dad.
Amazing you could.
Because it's turn off the volume on John's, because that's the main.
My volume is
His volume is off.
off.
Sorry, we're having an echo problem here.
Just see, this came back on in the reboot.
His microphone goes to the cloud and comes back. So
Okay.
there's a delay. So if you turn your mic,
Off.
I'm gonna drop out.
I just want to say love
turn
is
his speaker up.
It's okay. Just
the force in the universe. Intelligent love has propelled every atom to go create a planet and every human to move forward in a positive way. Okay.
Thanks, John. Beautiful, beautiful talk. And I just want to say that I have 3 boys, and I hope that they ever speak of me with the love and compassion that you just spoke of your family and your kids, your father. Very, very touching. Thank you for sharing.
We're not hearing anything from anyone in the deep bow room.
Okay, Sonnet?
Yes.
Would you make, unmute me, would you?
Yeah.
Let's do
Okay.
we'll do John's microphone and John's speaker. See if that works.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Calling one and all. Oh, you coming through strong, Sonnet. Hello.
Great. Hi.
Good. Yeah, love you, brother. JP, Chief. Commander. Yeah, it's so touching and beautiful to see. You know, I haven't seen these pictures of your family and the family of VW cruisers. So I definitely see the stream, the thread there that came from your parents of Jenny's and Frank's Sprinter to your cruiser, your truck cruiser, whatever you call that, camper, and the stream. So yeah, I feel honored and a pleasure for us to connect and how we have, and the joys and the adventures that we've had along the ways. And it really comes through. You said love is fun, and you make love fun. You brought that in, and love, you know, from as you've described it, and as I know you, you know, love is action for you. Love is engagement. You know, you are the guy that is always there. You know, rain or shine, you need your battery charged, or a flat tire, or even a grand adventure, or advice, you know, in relationship or parenting or accounting or you know, on down the line. You are the master of so much, and always dig in so deeply with love. Like, okay, we got this problem. We got this. I need to help. I have the opportunity to help. You look at it from that standpoint of, wow, they would like my help. I'm here, I'm on it, and go so deep into that. And I really learn and appreciate and acknowledge that in you, and all that you've taught me about family and friendship and devotion and commitment, and just enjoying the heck out of life. So
When I got this tattoo, Sonnet held my hand. It was painful, and she let me squeeze her hand and sent me love that made me feel much, much better.
so what's that? So elephant is Hannah, and sonnet is what? The
Sonnet's elephant, definitely.
no, Hannah's. But sonnet, what's your spirit animal? There was talk of
The little bug.
what is it?
Oh,
John, I just speak.
go ahead, Mama.
Well, there was speak of a beetle because of a moment that she shared with her dad, but I dare say that she has lots of options.
Yeah, we still have to do our tattoo, Papa.
Yeah, on our ankle of a beetle, a red and black beetle. Okay. Who else has a comment?
Ben.
Okay, Ben.
Thank you for that fabulous talk. I have a question. How do you balance what is there any general advice that you give to balance love and caution? Like being in Mexico, you're probably experiencing different culture, but also having been there myself, I experienced a lot of theft and like danger, and I was wondering how you balance that with love.
You share love towards things that are dangerous or threatening.
How do you show love towards things that are dangerous or threatening?
Actually, you take what's dangerous and make it safe, especially in an airplane. And you just use that intelligent love that flows from the universe through your heart into your brain and make that work.
Chris. Chris, she says.
Thank you, Mary.
Sorry, the mouse wasn't working. Thanks, John. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for a beautiful talk. Yeah, I was just I was looking at some of your old pictures. Looks like it was in the 1960s with that old Volkswagen bus.
Yeah.
And it was making me feel old because I still have one of those buses in my garage. So I don't use it much anymore because it's kind of pretty old now and not that reliable. It's interesting. Just before a short time before we got on this morning, I was listening to a talk, and the teacher was talking about something very similar to what you opened with, was how the sun isn't just this thing in the sky. It's kind of this loving presence that engulfs us all the time, and it doesn't really have an edge. We're within its sphere of influence, and it gives us life and unconditionally loves us. Doesn't matter, it doesn't discriminate who that love lands upon. It's completely unconditional. And that seems to be the message you were trying to convey to us this morning. And you did so very well, I think. You also mentioned that you like Alan Watts, and I was reminded of a quote of you like to quote Lao Tzu, and I'll just read that real quick. I remember reading this one, reciting this one often. The great Tao flows everywhere, both to the left and to the right. It loves and nourishes all things, but does not lord it over them. And when merits are accomplished, it lays no claim to them.
Thank you, Chris.
I think Frank wants to say something.
Hey, John.
Hey, so in contrast, in the traditional samurai society, the highest love was undeclared and undemonstrated. But the samurai would do everything that they could for the people that they felt best for, but never expect anything back and never make it known public what they were doing. So very much working in the background. Which is, in one of the Buddhist things, it says, operate secretly. So.
When I lived in London for a couple of years, I fell in love with English girls and the way they talk. And when I was in Hong Kong, I met Rachel in the class where Randy was. And she had that English accent and loveliness and fun and love. And that got me going up that hill, Moon Hill.
I was once visiting Berkeley, and a linguist was there, and she said, "Oh, can you speak some more, please? You're the first living estuarine English accent I've ever heard, because I'm from the Kent estuary." And so she was making notes on how I sound. I used to tell the students Penn State that it's good because they have to listen carefully, so they might take things in more.
Actually, Sonnet is a linguist from Berkeley, and she's learned to speak Chilean Spanish very, very well. And she can also speak as an English girl.
Charles.
John, I just wanted to thank you for bringing me into your life. It was quite touching. It was beautiful and heartwarming. It was heartwarming just to see your expressions of love toward your family and toward life in general. It was it was a very high teaching, a very high teaching. It was very beautiful, and I want to echo your contribution in that you like the way that English girls speak. I've always felt that way. I felt that Americans really don't know how to speak English, and the British, for some reason, I don't know if it's in their genes or how they're taught, but they deal with the language in such a way that it's just amazing to hear it. But again, thank you for that touching, whatever. It was just very nice hearing you speak.
Oh, thank you very much, Charles. Oh, something changed.
Frank Hermanton wants to. Hi, Frank.
I can do it. Don, I just want to take a moment to attest to your life of love. We met 35 years ago. I was a complete stranger, following your sister to Hong Kong to meet you. And from that moment on, you have been like a brother. You are a brother. And our time at Burning Man together really took us to a different level in our relationship. And it's thank you.
I end up with tears of joy and love when I hear you speak and others.
Love you.
Love you, Frank. That was really fun in Hong Kong, and you all went to Bali and had a great time. And our experience at Burning Man, when I was with you two, before I had anything, was incredible. That was so beautiful, and it expanded my heart enormously forever.
Can I go? I don't get this without crying. Can any of you even imagine growing up with John as your big brother? What a blessing. I'm so grateful. We walked to school today. We walked to school every day. We walked home from school every day. And one of the first things that he taught me as a brother was brother and sister hold hands this way. Boyfriend and girlfriend hold hands
Not
this
like this.
Not like this.
And he gave that, boundary of brother and sister that allowed us to be best friends all our life. To help me feel safe all my life. John, you've always been there. And I'm right by your side every day.
I'm so grateful, Jenny and Frank. And you two have amplified love enormously together. And your 4 kids.
And I know because our brother Tom showed us the other side is all unconditional love and understanding that our job is to bring that unconditional love onto the earth.
Yes.
I love you.
Oh,
Thank you. I'm so grateful.
love you, Jenny. I'm so grateful that you got me on a good path.
It's nice to have this community witness today. Thank you.
Okay.
For a couple of years now, I've been going with John once a month to a boat in Sausalito.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody goes to the boat to share what they do in this very special magical space. And John doesn't go to the boat to share what he does. John goes to the boat to pin wings on people. John goes to the boat to make people realize their magic. That's what he does. And I watch him as he goes around from one person to the next, and he just listens and gives them these little magic pills. Bliss. And he's done the same thing to me. Right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave me alone until.
Not at all.
Yeah. Until I recognized what was there.
Oh, yeah.
I think most people that know you in this room have felt this way, John.
Oh. And our time together of doing things has been magical.
Magical.
And Frank cuddled me beautifully.
Greg.
I'd like to echo what Jenny said, that John's always there for us, for all of us. And I was struck today about where did John get that love? And now I know. He got it from a loving family, parents, and he's carried on the tradition to his family and to his wider family, I think is what Frank would call the Sangha, or he loves the Sangha, and John loves the extended family. And we're all so grateful to have him in our lives. And the love you spoke about today, I was just struck about, this sounds trite, but it's just simple. You know, I get so maybe take love is to be so lofty or confusing, and it's like, no, it's not. John just said, it's how do you raise your kids? You just love them. Wow, that sounds pretty doable. You know, like, wow, thank you. That's it just makes it very real and very personal and very attainable. It's not something off in the atmosphere or the stratosphere that we have to strive for. It's just to show up for each other. And John has been showing up over time for a long time. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you, Greg. Are you driving, Sonnet? And
No, I'm still pulled over, but
is your side mirror in place?
it is indeed. Thanks for checking.
Somebody stole one when we were
I
in
know.
Santiago.
I got the extra insurance for that this time,
Oh, gosh.
just in case.
They steal mirrors?
Unfortunately, it does happen.
You know, I'm gonna jump in here. That comment circles back to, I think, what Ben was asking about or alluding to, about when we get some kind of trespass from other people, some threat or some bad behavior or some danger, and how do we extend love in that situation? How do we deal with those infractions? I dare say it's super inconvenient, but you know, I always try and go to where they're coming from, what trauma or what circumstances they are living with and living in, such that they need to behave that way, and just extend my compassion, because but by the grace of God walk I. So like I say, it's super inconvenient, but the alternative is worse, to suffer, you know, hatred or you know, come from judgment or bear a grudge. It's harder to do that than to just allow, with breath and compassion, allow love to flow and send blessings and goodwill, and just deal with the inconveniences. Obviously, there's a huge spectrum of what you would term inconvenient. I recognize that, and some things are easier to accommodate than others. But ultimately, in my life with my, you know, I think about relationships from, you know, my own family. Yeah, I just really have been, I've learned to recognize the shoes that they have walked in, and try them on, and then it's easier to channel the love.
John, thank you so much. I want to echo a little bit about what Greg said of seeing these pictures of your family in the VW bus. There's just, you can feel the love, you can feel the kindness and gentleness and just wholesomeness that just abounds. And where it goes to Burning Man, here in this Sangha, it helps make the glue of this, what we have here is because of you and this love we have, you have that show us. I'd like to return again to Ben's question though, because I think there might be one situation where maybe you could give an example. Like you talked about once with me about, you went to Brazil with Rachel and you said, we're in Sao Paulo, this is a wild country, this is really not the place for us to be. There might have been a lot of obstacles to struggle with that allowed you to be your loving person there, but you yet decided to do it. Mm-hmm. And just seeing that picture of you on the cover of that magazine, I could feel the adoration of the people that you worked with that wanted to hold you like that. Can you speak at all to your experience of just the love that was in you and how you made it work there?
Yeah, actually, when we arrived in Sao Paulo, the traffic was horrible. So many trucks and so slow, and we felt not great, but we met a local couple and they took us to their beach cottage house, and we fell in love with the Brazilian culture and their way of taking anything and making it so much better. That is the root of their culture. And it really was a wonderful experience there. And
so like taking bad traffic and making it into something wonderful.
Yes.
By just must be a switch of attitude, something like that.
Yeah, there was bad traffic when I drove Rachel to the hospital to give birth to Sonnet. And I
so she's Brazilian.
She has a passport, and I put up a sign saying, "We're pregnant." And I put on the flashing lights, and we moved quickly. It was heavy rain and the power was out at the hospital, but they had a generator. And they can solve everything.
So yeah, gosh, thanks, John. That's awesome. I love what Charles said. Mm-hmm. Very high teaching. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so many snippets that touched me from the inside out kind of thing. I like what Chris said about the sun and how it's just this sphere of, he didn't use the word impact, but it has its sphere of impact that just by being itself, mm-hmm. it touches those things. And Angyo said the invisible love. So there's the invisible love that just happens, but then also equally in my heart true is when it's visible. and spoken and revealed, which is what's happening right now.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we all learn something from that. We all grow. We all get lit up more in our own sunness.
Oh.
And I don't know how obvious it is from the Zoom people, but I can see how incredibly deeply you're touched and impacted by what's unfolding. And I want to know, what is it like to be the son right now, that you're called almost like to the fullness of your capacity?
Yeah.
And can you talk about what it's like for you right now in this experience?
Yeah. Actually, feeling the sun on your face directly is a form of love. And it just makes me feel really good. Yeah. Especially if you're skiing.
Mark.
John, I just wanted to say I loved seeing the pictures of the VW.
Oh.
To me, you've always been an explorer, a journeyer. And I saw that route, and it just brought the pictures of the 60s family, and it made me think of my sister and my relationship, and just what wonderful times when you're a kid and you're exploring and the world is just warm and comfortable and your parents are there to support you. It's just lovely times. That just brought back all these emotions. And just wanted to, I don't know, say thank you. You know, we really got to know each other through Burning Man.
Yeah.
And you've just always been this person who's, you know, saying, enjoy the journey, make friends, give love, and explore, and really value and treasure that in you, and feel like I try to play it forward, I guess, pass it on, and just being a part of this community. This is something you've always talked about, and it's very wonderful. There's a lot of love in this room, and I think you're sort of a foundation stone in creating that. And it's really neat to be a part of and to see. So thank you.
Yeah. This Sangha is so full of love. I feel it all the time.
And really, I speak every second I have about that's really what the teaching is. What we are experiencing right now is what I call living Dharma. It's not from these books. These books encourage us because other people have experienced it, and then they did their best to write it on a piece of paper. But what's going on is the Dharma is, we are a river.
Yeah.
And it's a living river, full of energy.
Good.
And that's Buddhism. This is what the Buddha taught.
Yeah.
Intimacy, so much that we are the flowing Dharma. As I can't say, I'm so passionate about that, And you're such a river.
Is there a fish inside of me?
There's a school of fish.
We are your fish.
I like that metaphor. Like we're all a river, and then we have the fish inside us.
Yeah. And we're all going to the ocean. sounds like he's having a ball.
Angio.
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 Yeah, if I can double dip. I think it's very telling that one of the chants that we have at six bows, deep bows, sorry, get my sangas muddled up. I belong to Six Rings and Deep Bow, and so, is the Hawaiian chant. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
Love you.
This Nick.
All
right.
It's that third hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, John, for that really excellent, thank you, John, for that really excellent Dharma talk, and for really embodying, not just saying what you're saying, but really embodying it. And obviously, it's so obvious that your life has been exactly what that, love. And I mean, I'm still blown away by that picture of the two gliders, honestly. Not just because it was your dad up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember the last retreat here we did together too. Like, you told the story of your dad tricking you guys into getting on the plane. It's just crazy. That's still like one of the craziest. I don't know. It's like so funny. And you said something after that too, which was like, I was like thinking about a lot. You said like, it's good to like, I don't remember, was it like, it's good to like make events where you share love. It's like to be proactive is kind of like what I heard you say. Is like, it's not just, I mean, like I loved my dad, and I love my dad.
Yeah.
And with his passing, like I see like to have had to like plan and to make an event to share that as a memory, and cherishing the memories that I have with him.
Wow. My sister was a huge part of that first time flying. And she said, airplanes in Concord, we should fly to Nut Tree. My father says, nobody knows how to fly. It's expensive, stupid idea. And Jenny says, but Daddy, it's my birthday. And he goes and makes that happen.
I'm going to double dip here too, because exactly, thank you, Nick, for bringing that up. Exactly that attitude shift. So speaking to your question, Doug, and your question, Maya, how do you do it? What do you do? Like, teach us, John, how do you do it? What is it that you do? And one of the things of the many, but one of the things, most profound things, most life-changing things that I've learned from John, and it was mostly around raising our children, but in other situations it comes up. And I think that it's not obvious for John to explain, because it's who he is. It's like it's so much his nature that he can't really explain it. And what it is you find a way to say yes. You find a way to say yes, demonstrated by Pap John's father responding to Jenny, even though it was in a joke and in a practical, they all set up. She said, but Daddy, it's my birthday. So he found a way to say yes. And you can, it's a simple thing.
Thank you.
It's a simple thing, but if you look, it can be applied in so many transformative moments. It requires letting go of expectations, of ego, of preferences. You find a way to say yes here first, and then it will be expressed. I see Frank Annis saying yes all the time. He's another model, and he doesn't realize it doesn't occur to him that that's what he's doing, but I see it happening. It's like the fabric of his in and out breath. You find a way to say yes. Thank you, John, for teaching me that.
Brady?
Yeah, I thank you, John, for that beautiful the pictures and the sharing, and I really appreciate you being here and being a part of this group. And I mean, you definitely are a very loving person, and you can definitely feel your presence. And you just had you've had a lot of special people that you've spent your life with. It's been very, just been very supportive of everybody here, and just everybody tea and nuts. And it's just been, it's just been a great part of the group. And it's really beautiful to have you here, and thank you for all your sharing and all your contribution.
Oh, thank you, Brady.
Sherry?
Yes. Sweet John. Thank you so much for sharing the pictures of your family. It's so nice to have faces to go with those beautiful stories that you've shared. I really love the picture with your mom holding you on her knee and the rest of your family. I mean, I've never seen a picture like that. It's so adoring and so radiating the love you always share in your stories about your family. And so that's just such a great image. I'm never going to forget that picture and that image. So I'm so grateful to have seen all the beautiful faces of your family and your brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really touched my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to touch your heart.
About to the Sangha. John. Personally, for me, it's always a delight to be with you.
Likewise.
Sitting with Sangha today, as I would come back to the breath and I would see what the mind, the small mind, had been doing and what it had been chattering on upon, something new occurred today for me in the Sangha. knowing you were going to speak on this. And I would come back to being present, and I would see the thoughts that had been happening. And I began to chuckle at them. Of course, as with all of us, some of them are negative, problematic issues, yada, yada, things to be resolved, things unresolved. And in the presence of the Sangha and knowing what John would tell us, I began chuckling at my small self. And that small mind began to feel this other part. Isn't here where I can see. Yeah. So the chuckler at the small mind, there were two of us there. And in that meditative state of a new something of the two being there simultaneously, I felt them sitting next to each other and embracing, kind of like I enjoyed being next to John and sitting with him, and I think most do. There's something about this guy. And the next thing that happened in being here is that listening to everyone, in the meditation, I realized that everybody was having that same experience. Everybody was having chatterers in the mind and coming back and breathing and possibly having momentarily looked at what the mind was thinking and then back to breathing, back to presence. And I just felt the entire room, the entire Sangha with the chattering going on, and then each of them coming back. And it was just like me. So I began to get emotionally, physically, spiritually, how Alana describes it as we are one. We're this whole mycelial organism, and each one of us is a little mushroom sprout, the fruiting body of this oneness. So we're all the fruiting bodies of this oneness. And it was really just more palpable today. And with that, as people spoke today, I felt the adjectival or adverbial part of unconditional love. I felt unconditional floating away and disappearing, and it just being love. And I didn't have to say unconditional love anymore. And that, for me, say, I love the sun. I love the sun. I love the sun.
Can I eat part of your mushroom?
Thank you, Frank.
That's beautiful.
Anyone else? Like we're ready.
Yeah.
May our intentions equally penetrate every being and place with the true merit of the Buddha way. Beings are numberless, we vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible, we vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, we vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. We vow to be it. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a wonderful first Sunday of February, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you all so much. Wow. Yes.
Right. Maybe need that. That'll be-
Yeah, great. Thank you.